Hi everyone and welcome to your collective tarot guidance for the week of June the 20th. Before I begin the tarot guidance, I would just like to announce that the very first episode of my new project, entitled Dialogue with the Self, which is also a separate YouTube channel, is now active, and I did upload the very first episode. So that the idea there is to channel the living spirit, but you'll find more about the idea behind it on that specific channel and even the video. So basically it is like my personal experiment and attempt to connect you with deeper parts of yourself where you can usually normally or have not learned yet to communicate. So this facilitates and heals and all that stuff. So that's my new project, or better said experiment. So if you'd like to try out the very first episode, I'll share the link in the description below and also the link to the channel. And of course, I'm waiting for your feedback either here or there. But that's done. So now let's get back to the collective guidance for this week, because it's not a very easy week, and it's also a week where we are being pushed, we are being determined to get ready. Some people feel this more mentally because they know that the dates and times are adding up now and they have to do, act, make the choice, or whatever it is, life change, move away. These big things in life. So for some people, this is more the technical part. For other people, it is more like rather psychological or spiritual, because it's not necessarily they have the big idea, they have the dream, they have the everything, but not the willingness to make the commitment in a very stable way. So a lot of people might be still experiencing this shyness from the self. And if you'll excuse me, outside there's noise, so I'll just close the window. Thank you. So it's almost like you're shy to yourself because you know that this is where even the self is already an observer and just waiting for you to shine. But perhaps the moment of shining the process might begin the week after, not this week, because this is where we get resources that we need, meet people that we need, hear the words we need. So this is a state of readiness, but it's not easy. Neptunian activities, Saturnian activities, and the star of this show is Venus, the heart. Feelings, emotions, value, money. Am I worth it? Am I this and that? Am I good looking enough? This is where this is not just the average chitter chatter in the mind, but this is where however you process this not good enough is gonna be permanent. So this will be your own coping skill, your own personal methodology, how to be your own psychologist. And this is the chapter, like, let's visualize, so to speak, that all of us are just students and the universe is teaching us the course of psychology, but that chapter in it where how to be a good friend and supporter to ourselves. And we're students here. And okay, the theory is almost the same for all of us, because you really don't need my YouTube channel or my astrology to hear the theory, but the solution, the ingenuity, the project-based part of how we demonstrate that we learned the lesson, that's where all of us are working on that right now. So yeah, we might need all the guidance that we need this week, because it's not easy. And Mercury is going out of shadow. Time for a lot of clarity, time for profound clarity, even clarity in the mind and the type of clarity you say to others. And for a lot of people, especially introverts, no one expects it coming from you, because this is where you take off the hood, you just show yourself for the first time. So yeah. And also a lot of karmic activity, but the karmic activity will only get heavier as towards the very end of the week, and then next week at the time of the new moon in Cancer, which is gonna be super heavy. Neptune's gonna be stationary, standing still in the sky. I don't know in which degree, let's say, we're ready for this. So let's accept the guidance, because as I said, we surely are gonna need it. Okay. But in reverse position for you guys. Well, the devil in reverse position, the like even without the philosophy of it, freedom, the very first keyword, freedom, breaking free, taking off the chains, going out of your cage. Like, look, this is so symbolic. The cage door is open, yet the victim wants to be in it because that's its world. That's all it knew. All of us are like that. All of us are this person here in the image. Why 2020? Before, all of us were slaves. Some people are still slaves. The devil can be seen in a higher sense as mammon. So, this is where perhaps the Christ consciousness wants some people to prove their loyalty to the Christ in extreme ways, where they are ready to jump into total poverty, homelessness, just for the sake of unconditionality. And perhaps the devil card represents not needed. No, don't. That's just the principle. The universe only needed your willingness, but it's not needed. The door is open. So a lot of people, the devil reversed. This is devil upright, reversed. You're actually walking out of the cage. And the Five of Wands in upright position, because it was upright. Well, this is not a good energy, neither for us personally, neither in the world out there, and not because the outcome is not good, but because it's stress, it's struggle, it is sweat, it is hard work. Saturn is squaring Mars in its home sign, and Saturn can also be seen in his home sign of Aquarius. According to the ancients, it was the daytime expression of Saturn. So, this means that the competition is here. Regardless of who it is that you are, you have to fight with all that you have. But this is where the karmic test is real. You have to fight with peace, not with assertion. So you have to fight with basically everything that you have in your being. So you have to fight for your future, for everything, but with harmony, serenity, peace, not the toxic positivity, the everything's gonna be okay and hell bent to be. No. This is where you're embodying your faith. This is where it's faith. This is the divine inside of you. This is not the psychology of it. Yeah. Well, chances are for some people, a friend, a fated friend will just pop up in their lives and things are gonna change. For other people, this is where finally you see the future. Finally you see the light. Finally you are not as blind as you thought you was a few weeks, months, years ago. But with the Five of Wands, you're fighting for it. This is just a hope which the universe insists that is on the table for you to reach out. Take what's yours. Jupiter in the sign of Aries. It cannot put it on your plate because this is the karmic nuance of Jupiter in the sign of Aries. Everyone, introverts and including, and maybe this is dichotomous in a way, because just a few minutes ago I encouraged people to embody the Christ consciousness. So, but even those people who do embody the Christ consciousness, time to take action, not passivity. fight, but fight with the power of Christ, if that makes sense to you. For other people, fight with your unique power. It does not. Fight does not need to be assertive. Like, there is a predator, I don't know, wasp, a predatory species, and there is ants. One has to attack and be assertive to survive. The other one just has to work and build. Everyone has to fight with their own whatever unique strength and virtue that they have. This is also the star, the sign of Aquarius. You're rebuilding. Everyone's rebuilding. And your life is more important than the collective right now. Even though to us living in it, feels like the total opposite when we are called to give ourselves to the collective, to the greater good totally. But that means ethereally, in the mirror world, quantumly, our individual stories and lives was never more important to the universe, because someone has to take care of us. Nothing requires our surrender without our needs also being guaranteed to be met, as long as we're cooperative and mutable enough. So for a lot of people, this is exactly what's happening. Yeah, the Seven of Coins, scarcity is knocking at the door. You know that you are going to be in material trouble, or there's something blocking you materially and something preventing your progress materially, and that's why it's the Ace of Coins, but it's coming. So basically, this is where it's not miracle. That was until April or May this year. After May, it's what you're the miracle. Yes, it's a miracle, but any kind of miracle, Jupiter in the sign of Aries, can only take place if you're the gateway and the channel to it, if you know what I mean. So you better allow the universe to have its way right now, because it's for your greater good, and if it waves a red flag and red whatever in front of you, do like the bull and chase it. You know what I mean? This is where sometimes the red material is the shadow, it is the unholy, it is the source of temptation. But that is when nothing confirms it really, only our own vanity, that we have to make the right choice. But when all of reality, everything that we do, everywhere we go, we see confirmation, all of our friends are living similar things, then we already know that someone's insisting, because the only difference between truly divine and the fake divine is that the fake divine does not have directly any influence over the course of things. It has to make you choose and be the tool of it. But when it's totally outside your sphere, that means that the divine is moving things, and it's doing it not because it necessarily wants to, but because it knows that we are silly, childish, we're a child species. We're not even adolescents yet as a species, so we're just little children, 5-year-old children. They need a lot of confirmation and trickery. The strength, yeah, embody your strength. This is where you need to use your strength. And all of us, really. This isn't just us, and this is collectively as well. And collectively speaking, everyone knows that the Five of Wands is not the best possible sign, because it can mean that the conflict will get even more intense. And collectively speaking, the Six of Swords reversed. Now this is which might intimidate me personally a little bit, because the last time the Six of Swords reversed insisted on collective readings, it played out as, well, we are promised freedom and no restrictions, and we get the opposite. So would that mean that a new COVID thing or virus or whatever reason for progress to stop for everyone immediately? Because ultimately, is there something brewing here? That which we do not know of, not even intuitively. So this Six of Swords, yeah. And the reason why I've chosen this deck is probably for this Three of Cups to fall out. Now the Three of Cups is divine guidance and inspiration. But look at this, the mask is dual. So this is where you have to be sure that the divine guidance and inspiration does not come from the TV, what other people say, gurus, the internet, or even my YouTube channel or anyone else's, but from your heart of hearts. That's the only truth. Don't follow the mask. You are the mask, basically, so that others don't see you in a dangerous way, but don't allow the mask to deceive you. This is where, if there's a deceiver here, that has to be you for your own protection, but see through the mask. Don't allow any other external source to basically twist your interpretation of reality and what you're living, including spiritually, yet from a totally different perspective. If you're an artist, if you are anything who works with creativity, as in anything in a professional sense, this is really, really the time when I strongly encourage you. If you cannot work, then at least write it down. Take pictures, whatever it is that you can, to memorize your feelings, your experiences, and follow your epiphanies. Record them, write them, do whatever it is that you can, because this is valuable, almost alchemical gold. And as I say, if you're anything who has to do with artistic or creative profession, well, this is money for you as well. So ultimately, prepare yourself in knowledge that the summer is going to be lazy creatively and mentally. So lazy that a lot of people will procrastinate, especially the creative artist types, because Mars retrograde will not start necessarily, but the universe is getting us ready for it. When Mars retrograde starts in the sign of Gemini, well, you can imagine that will be action to solve everything left behind from the past, communication-wise and relationship-wise. So that will ultimately represent complications for us professionally as well. So this is where you will feed on the inspiration you get now. You won't need to worry back then. Where will you eat from soul-wise, as in soul nurture inspiration, because you're receiving that now. So like a diligent squirrel or something, gather for harder times, even the inspiration. Not the money, but the inspiration. Yeah, and again, the universe insists that for a lot of people, the start of Cancer season, tomorrow, and summer solstice, the sun entering in the sign of Cancer, is also the birth of a beautiful friendship. So a new friend or a friendly figure, helpful figure, or someone who genuinely, how should I say, honestly as a human being is kind to you because simply they want to. They just chose you for no reason. So you have to allow this, and for some people this is extremely hard. It is the hardest thing to accept someone's honest friendship. But, surprise, surprise. Yeah, the Five of Swords. As what I said before, it's what it means. Mental sabotage. Because are you gonna allow new friends in your life if they knock on your door? You might think, maybe you are doing the same thing as many people, in myself included. Oh, how I want new friends, but if you sit down with yourself for 5 minutes and be honest in your heart of hearts, no, you don't. You don't want to be bothered by it. You just want to be with yourself. You're almost, sometimes the shadow is jealous of not spending time with anyone else but the self. So this is where it gets a bit rough and tough, because you don't want to be alone, but you still want to be alone. And the universe does not read the message. Of course, the universe is not a computer. It is wise and powerful enough to get to the core of things. But when it gets to the core of things while you're sending mixed messages, then it wants to share its results with you ultimately. So you need to somehow, you need to find it the hardest thing in the world. You just need to not be afraid of people, because you on a way know that there's divine power at play here, and even these new friends are people who you're not afraid of them rejecting you. You're afraid of you rejecting them and disappointing them. You're afraid to show your shadow, and your shadow is, the way it manifests is that it's very selective. It just can't allow someone close to your heart. You're the kind of person who simply can't hug unless you truly feel a very strong sympathy for the person. If not, the hug is painful for you because it's fake. Why I'm saying this? Well, ultimately, I'm not that sure myself, but what I'm sure of is that this is where we need to catch ourselves sabotaging ourselves, and not necessarily just mentally, but rather emotionally. Because, see the self for what it is. Because you're afraid to show other people that you're like this, really. In your heart, this is one of your defects. But it's not a defect, it's just common sense. But you think that it makes you look in a bad way morally or spiritually. But you just don't like a lot of people. You respect everyone, you feel compassion for everyone, but you're not friends with everyone. Friendship for you is sacred. That's why you're not like other people, because it's not sacred for them. You live in the past in that sense. You live in ages where that was sacred, thousands of years ago. And if you haven't changed by now, you will not change ever in any incarnation. So that means you have to accept this about yourself, that you're very Saturnian in friendship wise, and that's not shameful. Just tell to anyone's face who wants to be your friend, friendship is sacred to me, so I cannot be friends with you because we're not on the same page morally speaking. And that's it. They have to accept it and understand it. This is your life. This is your personality, your human identity can be 100% under your control and your shaping and molding. So do it. Do it. And where I want to get with this is perhaps that this, how should I say, shame ultimately, that you don't want to show how tough you are and rough you are. And you should just understand that that's not shame, that's just standard, that's high quality. You're a high quality soul, and you might think that showing this openly in matter is arrogance, or no, but no. You're not proud of who you are as a professional. You just don't want to commit to friends and become their slaves out of sheer moral. You want to be honest with yourself and commit to people who you want to be committed to. That's it. And friendship for you doesn't even have to be mutual. There is some beings, some souls just stir your sympathy, and that's all there is to it. And it's no one's fault. Not your. So this is where you need to let people in, but on a spiritual and unconscious level, because your soul might be convinced, and that means your mind is hyper convinced, not just convinced, that you're doing nothing really wrong. But this is where there's deeper parts than the soul. The soul is not a superstar. The soul is not a big deal, to be totally honest with you. The soul is not that very much different in an earthly incarnation that the mind. So they're on the same level as, if there's a podium, well, it's not the soul and the mind that are on the top, but perhaps the heart, perhaps the higher self, each person what they place as the ruler of their being. But usually it's not the soul. Those who place the soul there, for example, me, are immature. We're immature. That's why the soul is there and not the heart. But it's our lives, our choosing, our experiment, our. And this is where it's not us as human beings, but the way we spiritually design, our spirits designed us. If this is our inner value system, it's fine, no problem. Some people place the mind there and they wonder why their lives are meaningless. Well, that's why. But this isn't a reading about what we should do philosophically. I'm not judging by any means. I'm just saying the key to happiness is when you put the heart. And this is universal. Who doesn't do it, well, they have to compensate happiness with something else. If not, their being collapses. So be sure that all parts of your being, all bodies, energetic body, emotional body, mental body, spirit, etc., are in the same accord. Because if a deep part of you says, no, 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 I don't want friends, well, then it doesn't matter what the soul, even the soul itself, believes, because you're not getting it. And then the soul might be angry at the universe because, look, man, I won this, I did everything, but the universe is telling you some things don't depend either of you or anyone, anything else, not even the creator. Because if a certain part of your being is stubborn, it's an inner journey that you need to take and somehow resolve it. And that's why you get certain dreams. That's why a depression never heals, because you need to meet yourself. You need to meet the self, inner journey. Or like Native Americans say, dream, vision, quest, or whatever. That's why like ayahuasca and stuff like that works like a charm, because those people designed it for that. Other cultures did not design that. So Christianity chose the hard way. Other cultures chose the easy way. But in 2022, everything is international with the internet. So everything is inter. So to steal from other cultures, it's all you can eat buffet the internet. You know, something out there will appeal to you how to meet yourself. Hypnosis, regression, astrology, tarot, ayahuasca, marijuana, I don't know. Something out there exists that ticks for you. So this is what you have to do, meet yourself, because the divine cannot help you further than this, giving you the knowledge that you have to meet yourself. You have to ask that part of your being which is not cooperative, why not? And that's it. But saying this is infinitely easy. Doing it is, after tens of years, I'm still nowhere. So you can imagine. Wisdom or whatever else you may think does not help. And this is where you can not do it alone. No, doing it alone is impossible. Even those people who you think did it alone had spirit help, so they didn't do it alone. The only being who did it alone was Christ or Buddha, or however the enlightened child kind of appeared symbolically to the culture. But yeah, that spirit did it, but others did not. Neither should they, because it doesn't make sense. We're human beings because we need one another. And it doesn't matter, this is where the soul sometimes is the black sheep and it doesn't even know it. It doesn't matter where your soul came from. You're a human being right now and you need to function like one. Bye. So it's very, in the North Node in Taurus makes this spiritual approach very simple. We're here, and we have to live by the rules of what here means. So thank you everyone. So again, don't forget to check out the new project entitled Dialogue with the Self. And until next time, bye for now.